Hello and welcome to What Went Right, and another video in the month of action, where today I deal with a problem that has bugged me in action games, and that is how to balance reward with skill. And what do you know, unsurprisingly, when it comes to a what went right for an action game, we turn to Platinum. Well, technically Clover, but Platinum is essentially the phoenix that rose from the ashes of Clover. So, without further ado, let's rock. What went right? Godhand. Gotta hand it to him. The problem I'm addressing today arises from wanting to reward a good player. In games like Devil May Cry, the problem is that the reward often comes in the form of some kind of currency or experience points based on a ranking given. This means that good players will be able to buy things to grow more powerful, and make the game easier for people who could already meet the challenge, while players who are actually struggling are kinda stuck here, as they can't get this stuff when they are the ones who need it most. Now I know in theory this is probably designed so the weaker player will have to replay stages, so that they practice and get better, but I'm not really a fan of this solution, and so surely there's gotta be another solution to it. And Godhand has this solution, which means I'm finally about to talk about the game in the title. What Godhand does is have this number and meter going in the corner. This is your level. Beat up enemies without getting hit and it will go up. Enemies hit you, it will go down. Pretty simple concept. So, at higher levels, enemies will be more aggressive, and there'll be more of them, while the opposite is true at lower levels. And of course, at higher levels, there'll be a greater end of stage reward to encourage a player to actually push for reaching these levels, rather than deliberately reducing yourself to the lower levels so you can breeze through. After all, without an incentive, most gamers are just like water. They will take the path of least resistance. So essentially, the brilliant thing this system does is create and provide an adaptive difficulty system. It will naturally adjust how difficult it is based entirely on how the player does in the game. This is a better system than a traditional difficulty selection system, because the problem with a lot of gamers is ego and stubbornness. A lot of people, including myself sometimes, will pick a greater difficulty than you can handle, especially avoiding the stigma of easy mode. Psst, I know it seems contradictory to my path of least resistance comment, but let's just ignore that for now, as there's more nuance to that topic and will maybe be a subject for another day. By taking the difficulty control out of the player's hands, it allows a more realistic difficulty setting, closer fitting to the real skill level of a player. While Godhand does have a difficulty selection, this just affects the range of the possible levels, and isn't really that important in the grand scheme of things. But the problem with Godhand is that its base difficulty level is still fairly tough, so it's not really the best example for helping weaker players. But the system is great in theory for them, especially if other easier games stole its adaptive difficulty system. And that's it for this video, thanks for watching, and while I'm not that good at Godhand, or making YouTube videos for that matter, at least I can still take solace in my own attractiveness.
They're still sexier than you are.
Oh.